My beloved child, come quietly now, just for a moment, and allow yourself to feel the soft settling of your own breath. Let the noise loosen its grip. Let the weight slip down from your shoulders and step gently into this space where nothing demands performance from you. Here, there is only invitation, an invitation into stillness, into recognition, into a kind of listening you have longed for without fully naming. You have carried the world inside you for so long, and yet you rarely grant yourself the pause to remember that you are more than the movement, more than the worry, more than the expectations placed upon you. Lean into this moment with a seriousness wrapped not in fear, but in tenderness. The seriousness of something true, something timely, something meant for you. Let your heart settle like calm water as a quiet voice rises within you. Not a voice of pressure or threat, but a voice that has followed you through every season, whispering through moments you overlooked, waiting patiently for you to finally slow just enough to hear. You are here now, and that matters. Let this beginning be a gentle doorway. Let it open slowly, like dawn stretching across a waiting horizon. Let every word meet you softly, even when it carries weight, for nothing is meant to overwhelm you. Everything is meant to steady you. You are invited, precious one. Step forward. Listen deeply. You are ready. My child, hear this with the seriousness of a moment that arrives only when the heart is prepared to receive it. There are times in your life when messages drift past like passing breezes, and you treat them lightly, as though the universe is always repeating itself and nothing requires more than a glance. But this is different. This is the moment that leans close and asks you not to look away. This is the whisper that carries weight. This is the urging that gently takes your chin and turns your face toward what you have nearly missed. There is a reason this message has reached you now, and this precise point in your journey. Not earlier when you were distracted, not later when you might have built another layer of armor around your heart. Now, a moment calibrated with exquisite care. You felt it when you read the title. Something inside you tightened, something stirred. Something knew this was not meant to be skimmed or dismissed. When the heart feels that pull, it is not by accident. It is alignment. It is timing. It is the soft rumble before the shift. So listen, beloved one, with your whole being. Not with the mind that races, but with the deeper knowing beneath it. This message comes with gravity, but it does not come to frighten you. It comes to awaken what has been sleeping, to steady what has been shaking, to illuminate what you have been circling without naming. It comes to ask you to stop minimizing the importance of your own turning point. You have brushed past too many moments that were meant to nourish you. You have skimmed over truths that could have anchored you. You have hurried through invitations that were crafted to bring you clarity, peace, and direction. Not out of rebellion, no, never that, but out of exhaustion, habit, and the belief that everything can wait. But my child, not everything can wait. Not everything should. This message reaches toward you with hands open, urging you to stay present. Every word is a gentle tap on the door of your awareness, asking you to take this seriously, not in fear, but in reverence for what is unfolding inside you. There is a stirring happening beneath your surface, something you may have sensed, but have not fully acknowledged. A subtle shift, a quiet readiness, a tremor of awakening. Let yourself feel the weight without fear. Weight is not always burden. Sometimes it is significance. Sometimes it is truth settling into its rightful place. You are being asked to lift your eyes, to breathe deeper, to listen with intention. This is not a message to rush through or skim between tasks. This is a moment carved out for you, with a tone that stands apart from the ordinary hum of your days. Stay with it. Stay present. Stay open. For what is coming in the parts ahead is not meant merely to inspire you. It is meant to realign you, to remind you of who you are beneath the noise, to call forth the steadiness you have forgotten you carry, and to mark this moment as the threshold you were always meant to reach. Do not skip this, precious one. Let it speak. Let it settle. Let it stay. My beloved child, come a little closer into this quiet space, for there is something you have needed to hear for far longer than you have allowed yourself to admit. You have walked through so many moments carrying the weight of feeling unseen, unheard, or misunderstood, even when you tried to present yourself as steady, capable, and unfazed. You learned long ago how to keep moving while parts of you whispered for someone, anyone, to truly notice what was happening behind your practiced calm. And yet, through every hidden ache and every unspoken thought, you were never invisible. Not once. Not for a single heartbeat. There is a depth within you that has gone unrecognized by many around you, the depth of your quiet endurance, the depth of your longing to be known without having to explain yourself, the depth of your effort to hold everything together even when you felt your inner seams pulling apart. You have carried silent battles with a kind of bravery you rarely acknowledge, a bravery that does not roar but simply keeps going. And because of that quiet strength, you often assume no one sees the trembles beneath it. But I see them, precious one. I see the places in you that feel tired from giving more than you receive. I see the questions you ask in secret, the ones you don't speak aloud, because you fear they might reveal too much vulnerability. I see the moments when you hold your breath, hoping for clarity, only to feel the fog settle in again. I see the times you wonder if your efforts matter, if your tears were noticed by anything beyond the silence of the night. None of it was lost. None of it was wasted. You have been waiting for someone to acknowledge the complexity of your heart, the way you are both strong and fragile, both hopeful and cautious, both ready and fearful. You have longed for a voice that can name your inner landscape without judgment, without rushing you, without diminishing your experiences. So let these words wrap around you gently, like a warm shawl laid across shoulders that have carried too much. You are known. Not in fragments, not in passing, fully. Every moment you pushed through when you felt alone, seen. Every disappointment you buried because others wouldn't understand, seen. Every small victory you celebrated quietly because no one else noticed, seen. Every effort to keep showing up even when your heart felt unsteady, seen. And more than seen, my child understood. There is nothing in you that needs to hide here. Nothing too complicated, nothing too heavy, nothing too messy or contradictory. Your confusion does not disqualify you. Your fear does not displease. Your doubts do not make you weak. They simply show that you have been trying to make sense of a world that has often asked too much and offered too little clarity in return. Let your shoulders soften as you allow this truth to sink in. Your inner world matters. Your emotional storms matter. Your longing for direction matters. You have not been overlooked in the vastness of everything else happening around you. You have been held in a kind of attention that never wavers, even when you feel you are drifting. There were moments when you wondered if anyone noticed how deeply you were hurting. You wondered if the quiet tremor in your chest during overwhelming days meant anything to anyone beyond yourself. You wondered if your efforts to be kind, patient, or hopeful meant anything in the grand scheme of things. You wondered if all the times you stayed silent to keep the peace, or gave more than you received, were recorded somewhere in meaning, or if they simply dissolved into forgotten air. Beloved, not a single moment dissolved. Every struggle carried purpose. Every tear held meaning. Every quiet act of love or endurance shaped you in ways you cannot yet see. Nothing about your journey has been wasted. Even the chapters you wish you could erase have been woven into a tapestry that is slowly revealing its beauty and strength. You are fully seen, fully known, fully held. Let that truth rest in you now, like a steadying hand over a trembling heart. My beloved child, there comes a moment in every journey when the air around you seems to shift, even if only slightly, and something in your spirit pauses long enough to notice. A moment when the familiar no longer feels quite the same, and the future, though still veiled, begins to pulse with a subtle invitation. You are standing in such a moment now, a threshold that has been forming quietly beneath your feet, waiting for you to recognize it. Not with anxiety, not with pressure, but with a gentle certainty that you are on the edge of something important. A threshold moment does not always announce itself with dramatic signs or sudden clarity. More often, it arrives as a soft internal stirring, a question that won't go away, a longing that deepens instead of fading, or a restlessness that nudges you to pay attention. Perhaps you felt the tug recently, the sense that the way you've been moving through life is no longer aligned with the deeper truth rising inside you. Perhaps you've noticed that old patterns no longer fit, that certain situations feel too small, or that your heart is quietly urging you toward a different way of being. This moment is not random, my child. It is the quiet culmination of everything you have walked through, everything you have endured, everything you have learned, both painfully and beautifully. You have reached a point where the ground behind you cannot hold you the way it once did, and the ground ahead of you is asking to be stepped upon with intention. You may not feel ready. You may not feel confident. But readiness is not a feeling, it is a posture. And you are closer to it than you realize. There is significance in responding now, in leaning into the whisper instead of dismissing it, in acknowledging that something in you is shifting toward a truer version of yourself. If you turn away from this moment, it will not punish you, but it will wait. Yet waiting often means prolonging the ache of misalignment, continuing the cycle of confusion, or remaining in spaces that no longer nourish your becoming. That is why this moment carries a quiet urgency. Not because you will lose something if you hesitate, but because you will gain something if you respond. This threshold asks for your presence, your honesty, your willingness to trust the subtle guidance rising within you. It is drawing a gentle line between drifting and choosing, between moving aimlessly and moving with intention, between living reactively and living awake. The difference between clarity and drifting is often one simple act, listening deeply enough to recognize when your heart is asking you to pause, breathe, and step forward with awareness. You have been drifting at times, not because you lack direction, but because life has layered you with noise, expectations, disappointments, and responsibilities that have scattered your focus. Drifting is not failure. It is simply movement without anchor. But here, at this threshold, clarity begins to return, not in a loud or dramatic flash, but in a way that feels like quiet truth settling into its rightful place. You are not being rushed. You are being invited. Invited to stop living on autopilot. Invited to acknowledge what is shifting within you. Invited to step out of the fog and into intention. This is a pivotal moment not because it demands perfection, but because it asks for recognition. Something in your life cannot continue the way it has been. Something in your spirit is calling for alignment. Something in your heart is asking to be honored instead of pushed aside. And you, my child, are capable of honoring it. Let yourself imagine standing at an open doorway, the room behind you familiar, but too small, The space ahead unknown, but warm with possibility. The threshold beneath your feet is firm, steady, patient. It does not force you to move. It simply remains, waiting for you to breathe into the truth that you have outgrown the shadows you once settled for. This is your turning point. A sacred pause. A gentle awakening. You are standing at the doorway of becoming, and the path ahead is quietly calling your name. My beloved child, before you step fully across this threshold, we must gently turn our attention to the things that have been pressing against your spirit, those quiet, persistent barriers that you've carried for so long that they sometimes feel like parts of you. But hear this with tenderness. They are not you. They were never you. They are visitors that stayed too long, shadows that settled over your light, stories that attach themselves to your journey without understanding your true depth. Let us name them softly, without judgment, simply so that they may loosen their hold. There is doubt, subtle at times, loud at others. It creeps, and when you're on the edge of growth, whispering that your steps are too small, your pace too slow, your strength insufficient. Doubt tries to convince you that you must have perfect clarity before you move, even though clarity is so often the gift that comes after the step. Doubt has told you that you might be wrong, that you might fail, that you might not be enough. But doubt is not your voice. It is the echo of past wounds, not the shape of your identity. And then there is fear, an ancient companion in every human heart. Fear is not your enemy. It has only ever tried to protect you, though its methods are often misguided. Fear tells you to stay where you are because the unknown feels too vast, too uncharted, too unpredictable. Fear tightens around your ribs when change draws near, convincing you that safety lies only in what is familiar, even if the familiar has become too small for your spirit. But hear this gently. Fear does not define your boundaries. It only reveals where your spirit longs to grow. There is hesitation too, a lingering pause when you sense something new rising within you, but struggle to trust your own discernment. You have been taught, directly or indirectly, to second-guess your intuition, to wait for permission, to minimize your inner knowing. Hesitation has become a habit, not a truth. It has whispered that you must earn your right to move forward, that you must prove yourself before you take up space. Beloved, you do not need to earn what was always meant for you. And what of confusion? It has draped itself over your mind at times like a fog, leaving you wandering in circles, searching for answers that seem just out of reach. Confusion often appears when your heart and your circumstances are out of alignment, when you are caught between who you have been and who you are becoming. But confusion does not mean failure. It simply signals that something inside you is shifting and that your old frameworks no longer fit the person you are growing into. There are external influences too, voices that have spoken carelessly into your life, expectations that have weighed heavy on your shoulders, criticisms that still echo even though the moments that birthed them are long gone. Some of these influences came from people you trusted. Some came from moments of vulnerability. Some came from the world's relentless push to be everything at once. But none of these voices are the truth of who you are. Let us be clear, my child. These barriers are not your identity. They are experiences, not essence. They are emotional weather, not the sky itself. You are the sky, vast, expansive, capable of holding storms without becoming them. These barriers have shaped your journey, but they have not shaped your worth. They have challenged you, but they have not diminished you. They have slowed your steps at times, but they have not erased your path. This moment, this threshold, invites you to gently untangle yourself from these old companions. not by force, not by denying their existence, but by recognizing that you no longer need to carry them as though they are truths. They are signals, not definitions. They are stories, not destiny. You are allowed to outgrow what once felt necessary. You are allowed to release what no longer supports your becoming. You are allowed to recognize that the barriers are real, but they are not permanent. Let this knowing soften your spirit. Let it lift a weight from your chest. Let it remind you that nothing standing in your way is stronger than the quiet, steady transformation happening within you. You are not your doubt. You are not your fear. You are not your hesitation. You are not your confusion. You are more, so much more. And soon, you will feel it fully. My beloved child, now that we have named the shadows that have lingered around you, let us turn towards something softer, something brighter, something that has been waiting with a patience far deeper than you can imagine. This is not a promise of reward for effort, nor a transaction earned by perfection. This is a promise of presence, of restoration, of a clarity that comes not as a sudden blaze, but as a dawn that gently warms the horizon of your life. It is a promise meant not to pressure you, but to steady you. Not to demand, but to remind. You have carried so much for so long that you may have forgotten what it feels like to breathe without the tightness in your chest. You may have forgotten the sensation of waking with hope instead of heaviness, of moving through the day with trust instead of bracing for disappointment. But there is peace rising for you, my child, peace not tied to circumstance, not fragile or fleeting, but rooted in the deepest part of who you are becoming. Feel that truth settling around you like a gentle cloak. You are not meant to live in perpetual tension. Peace is not a distant concept reserved for others. It is an inner home that has always been calling you back. This promise is simple, yet profound. As you step into alignment with the quiet truth unfolding inside you, you will begin to experience a clarity that softens fear, a strength that quiets doubt, and a grounding that brings your scattered pieces back into harmony. You will feel something within you returning to its rightful rhythm, a rhythm not dictated by pressure or chaos, but by purpose. A steadier heartbeat, a calmer breath, a clearer path, and with that peace will come healing, not the kind that rushes in all at once, but the kind that unfolds with gentle persistence. Healing that touches the places you thought would always remain sore. Healing that smooths the jagged edges of old memories. Healing that restores the parts of you that were worn thin by years of giving more than you receive. Healing that reminds you that you are allowed to be whole again. This promise does not erase your past, but it transforms the weight of it. The experiences that once felt like chains will become markers of your resilience. The wounds that once shaped your identity will become softened echoes that no longer define you. The confusion that clouded your direction will clear, not because every answer appears at once, but because you will regain the inner stillness necessary to discern your next step. There is restoration waiting for you, not as a prize, but as a natural unfolding when you choose to stop running from your own heart. Restoration of your energy. Restoration of your confidence. Restoration of your ability to trust your inner knowing. Restoration of the courage you once held before life taught you to doubt it. And with restoration comes movement. Gentle, purposeful, forward movement. No more drifting. No more circling the same questions until they drain you. As clarity returns, the path ahead will feel less like a maze and more like an open field. Not because everything is easy, but because you are no longer walking through fog. You are walking with awareness, with direction, with the quiet assurance that you are not walking alone. This is the promise, not ease, but steadiness. Not escape, but transformation. Not guarantees of a perfect life, but companionship through every season. You are being invited into a way of living where your inner world is no longer a battleground, but a sanctuary. Where you can breathe without bracing. Where you can hope without fear of disappointment swallowing you whole. Where you can trust without feeling foolish. My beloved child, the promise is not out there somewhere far away. It is already rising inside you, waiting for space to unfold. It is the calm after the storm that has been forming quietly beneath the waves. It is the gentle alignment that comes when you stop fighting yourself. It is the softening that happens when you remember that you were never meant to carry everything alone. Peace is coming. Healing is coming. Clarity is coming. Restoration is coming. Not as demands, not as conditions, but as the natural response to your readiness. Let this promise settle into you like a warm light that has finally found its opening. My beloved child, come quietly into this moment and allow yourself to breathe a little deeper, for we are entering a space not of burden, but of release. You have carried so much, weights you tried to normalize, responsibilities you tried to justify, emotions you tried to minimize. Yet beneath all of that, there has been a longing within you for a softer way, a gentle rhythm, a place where you no longer feel the need to hold everything together with sheer will. This is that place. This is the moment of sacred exchange. Surrender is not defeat. It is not giving up, giving in, or losing something essential. True surrender is the act of setting down what was never meant to be yours to carry alone. It is the recognition that you have exhausted yourself trying to control what was never meant to be controlled, trying to predict what was never meant to be predicted, and trying to please expectations that were never aligned with your deepest truth. Surrender is a soft exhale after years of holding your breath. Look at what you've been carrying, my child. The stress that tightens your chest. The guilt that whispers when you try to rest. The fear that curls around the edges of your dreams. The anxiety that rushes in when you imagine the future. The memories that still ache when you revisit them. The pressure to be strong, even when you are tired to your core. These burdens have shaped your posture, weighed down your spirit, and pulled your attention from the peace waiting beneath it all. But you are not meant to hold these burdens as though they define you. They do not. They are remnants of old seasons, old stories, old expectations that no longer fit the person you are becoming. You are stepping into a new clarity, and clarity always invites release. Not because you must earn peace, but because peace requires space. So allow yourself, even if only in the quiet of your imagination, to open your hands. Feel the weight you've been gripping begin to lift, not because you force it away, but because you finally permit yourself to let it go. Every burden you surrender creates room within you, room for breath, room for stillness, room for the soft presence that has been waiting to fill the places once occupied by heaviness. This is the sacred exchange. As you release what burdens you, you receive what steadies you. In place of stress comes calm. Not the false calm of pretending everything is fine, but the true calm that arises when you trust you don't have to manage everything alone. In place of guilt comes compassion, a deeper understanding of yourself that softens the harsh stories you've believed for too long. In place of anxiety comes grounding, a quiet certainty that you are held even when the future feels uncertain. In place of fear comes courage, not loud or dramatic, but steady and enduring, the kind of courage that grows from knowing you are supported. As you surrender, something sacred shifts inside you. You begin to feel lighter, not because your circumstances have instantly changed, but because your inner posture has. The knots in your spirit loosen. The fog in your mind thins. The tense vigilance you've carried for years begins to soften. You feel, perhaps for the first time in a long while, that you are not battling life. You are moving with it. This exchange is not transactional. You are not earning peace by proving yourself worthy. You are simply allowing yourself to receive what has been waiting for you all along. Peace has never withheld itself from you. You have simply been too weighed down to feel it fully. Now, as you surrender, that peace begins to rise like quiet light through the cracks of your defenses. Let this be the moment you stop fighting your own heart. Let this be the moment you lay down your weariness, your fear, your self-doubt. Let this be the moment you trust that you are supported, not in theory, but in the depth of your being. My child, surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. And what you receive in return is not emptiness, but fullness. Not loss, but restoration. Not uncertainty, but inner steadiness. Open your hands. Release the weight. Receive the calm rising to meet you. You do not walk alone, and you never have. My beloved child, now that your spirit has softened enough to release the weights you once carried, let us gently turn toward the world you walk in each day. For the shifts happening within you are not meant to remain only in the quiet spaces of reflection. They are meant to weave themselves into the rhythm of your living, your choices, your interactions, your moments both ordinary and profound. Transformation is not merely an inner sensation. It becomes a way of moving through the world with greater steadiness, greater intention, and deeper peace. This alignment is not about perfection or performance. It is not about forcing yourself into rigid routines or holding yourself to unrealistic standards. Instead, it is about allowing your inner clarity to shape the outer patterns of your life in simple, sustainable ways. Think of it as tending to a garden, not by uprooting everything in a day, but by nurturing the soil, removing what no longer serves, and giving space for new growth to emerge naturally. Each morning, before the world pulls at your attention, invite yourself into a moment of stillness. Not long, not heavy, just a breath, a pause, a gentle settling of your awareness. This small practice becomes the doorway through which peace enters your day. It realigns your internal compass before you step into situations that might otherwise scatter your focus. Even a single mindful breath can remind you that you are not moving alone, that you carry an inner steadiness that circumstances cannot take from you. Throughout your day, become attentive to your energy. Notice what drains you and what nourishes you. Notice the conversations that leave you tight, inside, and the ones that expand you. Notice the commitments you accept out of obligation and the ones that align with your heart's truth. You are allowed, indeed, invited, to make choices that honor your well-being rather than constantly betraying it for the sake of others' expectations. Alignment often begins with noticing, and noticing gently leads to change. Your relationships, too, will shift as you return to yourself. You are learning to love from a grounded place rather than from depletion. You are learning to speak honestly rather than shrinking to maintain harmony. You are learning to set boundaries not to push people away, but to protect the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. As you align internally, you will find that your presence becomes calmer, your words more intentional, your reactions less tangled in old wounds. Do not rush this. Do not force it. Simply allow the inner transformation to inform how you show up. A gentle response instead of a defensive one. A moment of breath instead of immediate tension. A truth spoken softly instead of silence that festers. With each small shift, you are honoring the deeper work unfolding within you. And my child, consider the stewardship of your focus. This world is loud, relentless in its demand for attention, quick to scatter your mind into 1,000 directions. But peace requires intentional focus, not on everything, but on what truly matters. Make space for quiet. Make space for reflection. Make space for the activities, people, and environments that bring out the most authentic version of you. When you choose where your attention rests, you choose the quality of your inner life. Time, too, becomes sacred when aligned with peace. You need not fill every moment. You need not rush to meet invisible deadlines. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to move at a pace that honors your spirit instead of overwhelming it. When your time is aligned with intention, your life unfolds with a rhythm that feels more like harmony than struggle. And above all, let peace become your compass. Not the fleeting peace of quiet circumstances, but the deeper peace rising from within you. When you stand at a decision, ask which choice brings peace, not comfort, not familiarity, but peace. When you feel pulled in many directions, return to the one that aligns with calm rather than chaos. Peace will guide you through confusion, through crossroads, through moments when logic falls silent and the heart speaks softly. This is your new alignment, a life shaped not by pressure, but by presence. Not by fear, but by discernment. Not by old patterns, but by the truth unfolding within you. Walk gently, beloved. Walk with awareness. Walk with peace as your steady guide. My beloved child, we have walked together through stillness, through remembrance, through release, through awakening. Now you stand in a place both tender and powerful, a place where your next step is not commanded, not demanded, but gently offered. This is the moment where the inward transformation begins to crystallize into an outward choice. Not a dramatic leap, not an impossible task, but a quiet inward yes that shifts the direction of your life in ways you may not yet fully understand. A choice does not have to be loud to be life-changing. It can rise like a whisper from the depths of your being, a whisper that says, I am ready to live more aligned with truth than with fear. It can emerge as a subtle willingness to stop carrying the weight of who you were and begin embracing who you are becoming. It can be a soft internal turning, a decision to walk with awareness instead of autopilot, with peace instead of panic, with intention instead of drift. You do not need to know the entire path to make this choice. You do not need to have every detail figured out. You do not need to feel perfectly confident. You simply need to allow your heart to open enough to say yes to the direction in which you are being gently guided. The moment you do, something shifts within you. A new strength stirs. A new clarity awakens. A new sense of companionship settles around you like a protective warmth. This choice is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to yourself, your truest self, the self you were before fear taught you to shrink, before doubt taught you to hesitate, before the world taught you to mistrust your inner knowing. This is the moment where you choose alignment over confusion, presence over distraction, peace over anxiety. This is where you declare, through intention, if not through words, that you will no longer abandon yourself when life becomes heavy. Let this choice rise gently. Let it feel like the slow opening of a door within your chest. Let it be grounded, steady, brave in its quiet way. You are not choosing a path of perfection. You are choosing a path of authenticity. You are not choosing a life free from challenge. You are choosing a life where challenges no longer break you because you walk with a deeper grounding. You are choosing to trust the whisper that has been pursuing your attention through every moment of this message. And now, precious one, let us speak declarations, not as commands, not as spells, not as forced affirmations, but as gentle alignments of truth spoken into the air around you. Let these declarations become anchors you can return to whenever your mind begins to wander back into old patterns. Speak them quietly within yourself, or simply let them wash over you like warm sunlight. They are invitations, not obligations. I choose to be present with my own heart. I choose to honor the clarity rising within me. I choose to move with intention instead of fear. I choose to trust my inner knowing, even when the path is unfamiliar. I choose peace, not as escape, but as alignment. I choose to release what does not belong to me. I choose to receive what steadies me. I choose to walk forward with openness, courage, and gentleness. I choose to believe that I am not walking alone. Say them slowly. Let each one sink into the places within you that have longed for reassurance. These declarations are not promises you must fulfill. They are truths awakening inside you, truths that reshape the way you move through the world. They remind you that your life is not a series of random steps, but a journey unfolding with quiet intention. They help you remember that even in uncertainty, you can choose peace. Even in confusion, you can choose awareness. Even in fear, you can choose alignment. And as you declare these truths, notice the subtle shift within you, the way your chest loosens, the way your breath deepens, the way your mind softens its frantic pace. This is what it feels like to stand at the threshold and choose to step forward. Not rushed, not pressured. Simply open. This moment is yours, beloved one. This choice is yours. This alignment is yours. Let it settle into you like a seal of quiet strength. My beloved child, let us end this journey with a softness that settles into the deepest part of you. You have walked through reflection, release, alignment, and awakening. You have stood at the quiet doorway of transformation and allowed yourself to listen with a seriousness that came not from fear, but from recognition, from the deep awareness that something within you was ready for this moment. Ready to breathe differently. Ready to see differently. Ready to live with a steadier heart. As these final words wrap gently around you, let them be a seal upon the truth rising inside you. You are not returning to who you were before this message. You are stepping forward with a clearer sense of your inner wisdom, your resilience, your worth, your capacity to choose peace, even when life trembles around you. The shifts within you may feel subtle, but they are real. They are already changing the way your spirit moves. Carry this with you. You are allowed to take your time, to grow at your own pace, to honor your own soul's unfolding. Nothing is rushed here. Nothing is demanded. You are simply invited to live with intention, to move with awareness, to stay anchored to the quiet truth that has been calling to you. And now, with gentle finality, let this message close around you like a calm embrace, sealing everything you have received. God says, please, treat this seriously. God is not joking. Don't skip this one. Let these words echo not as warning, but as recognition of the importance of your becoming. Let them stay with you as a reminder of the doorway you have crossed and the peace that now walks with you. Go softly, beloved one. Go steadily. Go in wholeness.